Okay, okay, we are live. Yeah, I had some bad news yesterday. Some really bad news. And we're going to talk about Norway. So those people who have been criticizing me for talking too much about the USA, well, I talked about Europe last time, and now I'm going to talk about Norway. But this is part of a wider or bigger picture, you know. So let me just give it a few seconds so that people can discover this live stream and join the chat. You have to be a subscriber to join the chat, by the way. KP Heathen, Angela, I can't read those runes. Those are pre-Viking Age runes. But thank you, and hello to you. Yes, KP Hidden. Yes, I will talk about what I want. That is true. Elia, hello there. Good to see you all. Yeah, I've been up for a while already, actually, working. So this is my time off, actually. Now I'm just chilling, as the cool kids say. Green-eyed lady, two feathers. Leslie Russell says hello from Kentucky. Wonderful. Now, let's see here. We have some moderators already. But this is, this. Hi there, Linda, and Jenny. This is something that I think everyone should agree on, and I think most people will agree. But yeah, I'll have to explain what's going on, okay? Because this is not talked about so much outside of Norway. Yeah. Now, Norway, no, the parliament. The parliament. You know, those people, they are voted into parliament and they're supposed to represent the people. So they sit there and make decisions. I'll just quickly answer. Is Norway conservative or liberal? Norway is quite conservative, actually. But our conservative values are different from, for instance, the American conservative values. So, yeah, okay. We vote people into parliament and they make decisions. And they made a decision yesterday that our waterways, like rivers, waterfalls, things like that, many of those were in the past put in pipes so that they could harness the water and make electricity. And you could say that it's green electricity, green power, which it is if you don't count in the fact that you are destroying that part of nature. So back in when I was a child, I think, people were protesting, or even before that, I think people were protesting against this, and but they did it anyway. Now, because of the protests, it was decided that many of these waterfalls and rivers and streams, they needed to be protected because of the wildlife, because of nature and the fact that nature has a value in itself, right? So we believe, like sensible people, understand that nature has a value that cannot be measured in potential, for instance, potential energy, electric power that you could get out of that stream, for instance. So nature in itself has a value, and anyone who can think understands that. Um, yeah, maybe not Trump. Okay. Um, so so they were protected. These streams and waterways were protected, and as far as I know, we haven't in Norway put any more of these streams and waterfalls in pipes. They stopped doing that. They stopped doing that. Now, so all of a sudden, without any political debate, actually, they just decided that we're going to put the rest of those in pipes if we need to. So they're no longer protected. And I'll repeat that. All of these streams, waterways, waterfalls in Norway. Norway is a country with mountains, so we have lots of those. They will no longer be protected from being put in pipes. When I say pipes, it's you lead all the water into those pipes, and you have a turbine there, and you make electric power, right? So no longer will they be protected. And they said, and you'll have to forgive me because this is it's mental gymnastics. Some of these politicians, they said that, and you have to follow me through here. It doesn't make any sense when you think about it, but they said, well, because of climate change, we are having more extreme weather. So this is actually a good thing because now we will prevent floods because we will put the streams in pipes. So yeah, that's what they were trying to say, and I get a headache from the listening to these people sometimes. But anyway, they decided that I think it was only the Green Party, maybe the far left party, I'm not sure, but those are tiny political parties. They said no, but all the other parties, the corrupt bastards like the Conservatives, the Labour Party, the Centre Party, the Progress Party. I'm not saying they're all corrupt, but many of them. And you have to look at the wider definition of corruption. But yeah, so they just voted with massive a massive, like 87 or 78% or something like that in the parliament. They said, yeah, they will no longer be protected. So, okay. Now, the reasoning behind this is the following, and it's based on a lie. They are saying that we do not produce enough electric power in Norway. Okay? This is a lie because we do produce more than enough electric power in Norway. And actually, it's all green. It's all we could power the entire country with so-called green power from the waterfalls already in pipes. Okay. The problem is that these bastards, the politicians, connected Norway to the European power grid. And they said, of course, that, well, this is good for us because now we can get power from other countries. But that's not how it works. They have connected Norway to the power grid outside of Norway. And well, it's been a gradual process, but then they just increased it a lot, and they connected these cables. And I remember that night when they connected the new cable to the UK. That night, the price of electricity in Norway skyrocketed. So now this has to do with the highest bidder. So they sell power to the highest bidder. They also make special deals with companies and so on in other countries. Now, the price for electricity in Norway has, I believe, it's tripled or quadrupled, so 300 or 400%. You might want to double check that, but it's much more than doubled, which makes many people in Norway, especially those who don't have that much money, they are struggling. And Norway is kind of a cold country. Now it's winter. People are actually freezing. So these politicians were caught red-handed by a journalist, an independent journalist, who found some clips from the TV from many years ago where these politicians were bragging about their plans to make Norway the green battery for Europe. The battery for Europe. Basically, they want to make Norway just a place that will provide continental Europe and the UK with electric power. Now, what that means is that they will have to destroy the forests to erect wind turbines. Now they decided that they will put waterfalls in pipes, and what else they will do, I don't know. Solar panels, I don't know if that works so well up here, but and it's so sad because this is done. First of all, the Norwegian people, they don't want that. Secondly, it is a lie that when they are saying that we need a lot more power in the future. No, we don't. That's a lie. Well, we do if you sell Norwegian power to other countries. Then, yeah, of course, because then there isn't that much left. And also, if they decide that, well, we will just go full on with AI, of course, then you will need these massive facilities to power the AI. And we really have to put our foot down now and think about what kind of future we want for our children. Do we want a future where the forests are gone? Do we want a future where the waterfalls have all been put in pipes and there are no, there will be jobs, but AI will do everything? All the arts will be done by AI, which means that it will not no longer be art. Is that the kind of future we want? I don't want that future. I'm going to say something very dark, something very, very depressing. But there's a lot of forest and nature in Norway. But if it is destroyed, if Norway becomes, I don't want to say it, but if I'm not sure if I want to stick around. If it's going to look like, if it's all will be covered in wind turbines, the waterfalls will be in pipes, and you know and this is part of a larger picture where these people, they don't respect nature, and they talk about the environment, but they don't talk so much about about nature, do they? I see this attitude as just another version of this disconnection from nature. Now we see it, of course, in the USA now with the new administration. The latest idiocy from there was, oh, we'll bring back the plastic straws. You don't need fucking plastic straws. It's like, stick them up where the sun doesn't shine, Mr. Trump. I It's so stupid. And it's a level of disrespect for nature that is quite disturbing. And we see it here. But they try to sell it as protecting the environment. But it's really not about the environment at all. It's about money. And I truly believe that a majority of the people who make decisions now, they they have a disconnect with nature that is, I'm not sure what's going on actually, but it's disturbing because they are lying. We don't need more electric power. What we need is less consumption of electric power. And this is not difficult to understand. We don't need more electric power. We need less consumption of power. How do we do that? We do that by living a very different lifestyle. We need to stop the consumerism. We need to stop always looking at the screen. I know I'm looking at the screen now, and you're looking at the screen. But we shouldn't do that like 10 hours a day, you know? And we should get back to the earth. We should get back to growing our own food. We should get back to what really matters in life. And this is getting, I know this is a deep conversation, but I'm in that age now where I know I have lived more years than I have in front of me, right? And what I've learned is that what I'm seeing is that we're not moving in the right direction now. We are not. So we should live more in tune with nature. We should not be dependent on a power grid at all. We should heat our homes with firewood sourced from the forest, in a sustainable way. And it's like, I find myself using my bicycle more and more. Now, I will admit it's an electric bicycle, but but I don't need to use an electric bicycle, and this is I hope you won't start a whole conversation about how you hate electric bicycles, but that's not the point here, and that doesn't I don't need that to charge it often. It's not a big battery and so on. Um, I, oh, hi there, Edie. Yeah, you made it. Good to see you. Good to see you. I have a surprise coming your way. So, yeah, Toby says if everyone burns wood, we will run out of wood real quick. Yeah, it's a good point, but not. It's like when I say get out in nature. Just a tiny minority will do that. It's like with firewood, but yeah. Okay, let's. I got all upset now. Okay. Let's have a general chat. And yeah, let's get to the chat here. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against technology. I think that wind turbines are great. The small ones that you can put on your roof or in your garden. I used to have one on my sailing boat. They don't make hardly any noise, and we're talking. They're not big, and they will power your house or your boat. Actually, it's immensely effective. So okay, yes, shark canines, the plastic straw thing. That's sad. It's one of those things where I think, you know, we can disagree on things, but there are things that we should all agree on. We don't need plastic straws. Yeah, paper straws are not that good, but does it matter that much? And I thought we all agreed on the fact that there is too much plastic waste, so it's just, you know, it's what's the term? It's an asshole move just to please the people who, the grumpy old men and the MAGA movement who believes that the earth is flat and that human activity or human pollution, it has no effect on anything. So let's see. Yeah, I know Green Eyed Lady AI is here already. Kingdoms and Cobalt says reduce the production of items meant for single use or built for planned obsolescence. Exactly. You know what I hate? Those things you buy and then they break after a little while, and I usually try to repair them, but then you take it apart, and you see that there are parts inside that are broken because they're just made of cheap plastic again, and then you can't repair it, and you have to throw it away and buy another one. Yeah. Now, so yeah, I don't. KP Hidden says Maga doesn't believe the Earth is flat. No, I get it. I was just a bit funny there, being funny. So Earth Lab says the development of any country is linked with energy. Without that, everybody will be poor. Yeah, and that used to be an advantage with Norway. Cheap energy, you know. Um, oh, Lady Wolf's Den. I'm sorry to hear that. Um, but we have alternatives to plastic straws, of course. Um, I think. Yeah, this is I use metal straw. Yeah, you can get those metal straws, which just put them in the dishwasher or clean them. Yeah, Nuvret Brak Brakensiek. Excuse my pronunciation. Says smaller homes, less consumption, and growing your own food. I shop only once per month and rarely eat out. Bamboo straws, yeah, maybe yeah, maybe that as well. Um, my cooks, it doesn't need a straw. That's true. Um, and I usually don't use a straw, but it's it's just I can go down to the beach and pick plastic. Um, and I can come down there the next day, and there will be more plastic there. It's a big problem. Um, so yeah. Now I believe that when you destroy nature, like they're going to do now, you're going to you're doing something that is the harm you're doing to nature is it's very it's difficult to mend it because you disturb the whole ecosystem, and that's why we shouldn't really do it. So they are trying again to sell this idea that we need a lot more electric power. And again, it's been proven that it's a lie. Now, you could argue that, well, the entire Europe needs more electric power. I'm not so sure about that actually, but I haven't looked into those numbers. But if that's true, if it was true that Europe needs more electric power, then you could argue that, well, let's just destroy Norway and make Norway that battery for continental Europe that, like these politicians said that they would, and which they are in the process of doing now. Um, and the idea is that it's going to be green energy, as they call it. There is no such thing, by the way, but when you start doing that, you're going to have to continue. Because and I'm getting to my point now here. I think that when, it, how should I explain this? So, okay, let's say we have this level here of need. This is how much electric power. I'm doing this with my hand. Level here. This is how much electric power we need in an area. Let's say Norway or Europe, whatever. And I think that when they add electric power to that, the consumption will just go up, because also it has to do with the market. So you add electric power to that market, well, then the price would go down, would it not? So more electric power will then be spent. Sorry, and then they will say, well, we need more. We need more electric power. People or companies are making investments now because they have calculated that because of this price of electric power that we have now, we can build another facility for AI or quantum computers or whatever. And then you need even more electric power. Yeah, Angela, exactly. It will never be enough. It will never be enough. And I can tell you, and you know already, where this is going to end. If we don't say that we actually need to limit the consumption of electric power, we can't. We need to put a roof, no, a limit to this, because green energy is never going to, and I don't like that term, it's never going to be enough. So what they're going to do is that they're going to have to use nuclear power. And I know it's very popular now, especially for those people who were not alive during the Chernobyl disaster. It's very popular to support nuclear power. I do not support nuclear power. Now, I don't want to get into why here in this live stream. It requires a longer explanation. Um, but not only are they going to have to use nuclear power, but they're going to have to use more and more and more nuclear power. So the more you add to the system, the more the system will want that being of electric power. So we end up in a situation, I believe, with a lot of waste from these nuclear power facilities. And people can make up their own minds if that's a good thing or not. But the only solution is to say that, okay, we can't use more electric power now. It needs to stop. There needs to be a limit. And that's the only solution. And people with a logical mind, or they can see that. So, and of course, well, why not use oil and gas? Well, that's another discussion, I guess. Why not use oil and gas? I find that it's difficult to argue against the fact that when you use oil and gas, you're disturbing the balance in that affects the climate. It's very difficult to argue against that if you really go and look at the numbers, look at how this works. So again, I just arrive at the same conclusion. The only solution is to limit the consumption of electric power. So, yeah. But that's not a popular opinion to have, because then you have to say that, well, we actually we can't go full steam ahead with AI. We just can't. And they would probably also have to say that, well, we will have to stop immigration because we can't have more people in so-called developed countries, because that increases the consumption of electric power in total. and none of those statements are popular. Well, the anti-immigration thing is, of course, is not necessarily unpopular, but you get what I'm saying here. It's yeah. Um, yeah, Naruto Uzumaki. I have to ask, are you Japanese? But yeah, AI needs to be restricted. I absolutely. JD wants less restrictions. Really, it's crazy. I agree. That is crazy. Um, Elias says, my husband was headhunted to work at one of Google's power stations. It's one of the largest rivers in the US. It's crazy how much energy technology takes. AI will only make it worse. Yeah. Yeah, Angela, yes, as you're writing there, if you haven't subscribed to this channel already, then please consider doing that. Oh, you're American. Okay. I just thought your name to me, to my Norwegian eyes, looked Japanese. Linda is saying, have you heard that Canada might join the EU to avoid tariffs? No, I haven't seen that. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the tariffs. It's um, are you ready to pay for the tariffs? Do we want that? Yeah. I wonder if they made a poll, asked people in the USA and in the European countries and so on about tariffs. If they ask them, when your country adds tariffs, or is who's going to pay for that? Who will be paying for that? So in America, when Trump says we will have 25% tariff on everything from Canada, who's paying for that? Algorithm says the consumer always pays. Yes. So it's not the Canadian companies paying the tariffs. It is, of course, the American companies importing those goods that will have to pay the tariffs, which will be added when they import it, and they will transfer that to the price when they sell those goods, or the goods that are made up of the parts that they are importing. When they sell it to the consumer, they will add those 25% to the price. So, so the only one making money from that in the short, and that's only in the short run, will be some companies within the country, because they get more protected, and other companies will be buying more from them. Consumer will be buying more from them if they can. So if you had a very isolated economy, it could be a good thing, and it will, if anything, it will of course increase the isolation and decrease international trade. Yara says maybe if tariff is added, it will be less consumption. That's a good point, actually. That's a good point. Yeah. Earth Lab USK says, as far as we have politicians, we will have taxes to pay for their needs, not ours. Yes. Let's see. Better Stuff says, I'll take tariffs over taxes. I don't think those will taxes. Okay, so lower taxes and added tariffs. I don't know. Okay. Um, yeah, yeah. Tariffs are a tax. It's sort of a tax. I agree. Depends on how you. Well, it's a tax, import tax, clearly. Um, yeah. Um, Now, if anyone wonder how taxes will affect prices, you can just come to Norway and try to buy food here, uh, food made in Norway, because we have tariffs here, and we have had that for many, many years to protect the farmers, and it's like the food here is extremely expensive, um, and yeah. It kind of works out fine in a way, because also the wages are Norwegian, so high. That means the wages are high. So uh, Jacqueline is asking the price of eggs. I don't know, because I don't eat eggs, actually. I don't do well with eggs. um, let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Now, when it comes to AI, lots of people have opinions on AI, and I think that my feeling is that people are slowly waking up to the fact that AI is not just it's not necessarily a good thing. I think it was like it became very popular very early on, because it was, this new thing, and now I'm seeing and hearing that people are much more skeptical. Um, but are their leaders, they go full steam ahead with AI. It's all they can talk about these days. In the USA, it's AI all over the place. So the government is into that, and we see the same here. Um, and I think it's not going to work out so well for them. Um, but yeah, Toby, good point there. AI is going to keep track of you. Yeah, there is that as well, isn't it? Isn't it? Um, okay. Neverett says, I grow my own eggs. Oh, from the egg tree. Oh, that's just my little dad joke there. Yeah. Cynical donut. Are you smuggling eggs to the US from Finland? uh, yeah. Butterstuff says sooner or later AI is going to be used in warfare. That's when Skynet starts. Yes, I think that's uh, right at the front of the development of AI. Maybe they're probably using it already. With these drones and all of that. And I have a feeling. That Ukraine is being used as a testing ground for these technologies. And now I will just say something that, let's just call it a conspiracy theory. Let's just call it a wild idea. I'm not claiming this to be true, but let's just entertain the idea that, let's say that there are people, let's say in the American and maybe also Russian. No, let's stick with the American and European NATO, uh, among the decision makers there, right? They Let's say that they have an interest in keeping the war going so that they can test out their AI technologies. And I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying let's entertain the idea. Could there be something there? I don't know. Um, when I say that I don't think Russia is doing that, I don't know that either. But I think Russia has other uh, motivations for keeping that war going. So let's leave that out of this discussion. But you know, I'm not an expert, of course, and I don't know how they test these things, but I can imagine that an actual war would be a good place to test it. Maybe I'm wrong. Um, but let's say you have a war, ongoing war, and they use drones. Wouldn't it be beneficial if you have no morals, no ethics, to just test your AI there, your war AI? I don't know. Um, so yeah, exactly. The Fluxian says it sure looks like they are leveling Ukraine for some weird reason. Yes, yes. Um, Coventry Punk says when the Ukraine situation happened, the COVID restrictions ended the same day in the UK. I wonder why. It's so strange, isn't it? It's so strange. And we have learned to talk in a special way here on YouTube because of censorship. Uh, yeah. So, no, there is no AI here. Well, you could, well, actually, well, yes, there is actually AI here with us now because I am streaming this on YouTube. And Google and YouTube, there is AI connected to this, in the system there, in the algorithm and all that. Now there is no, I don't have a smartphone, so there is no AI here in the room with me. But yeah, you can't. I've said in videos that I'm never going to use AI, but that was a foolish statement because you can't get away from it. I mean, now I'm feeding the Google AI, YouTube being part of Google, so I'm helping AI. I'm feeding it. Um, so yeah, and I don't think AI is necessarily a bad thing, you know. For instance, in when it comes to finding new medicines, new medical technology, and so on, AI is probably very useful and should be used, I think. Um, and there are probably other areas where it's very good to use AI. Um, Oh, I can't think of any right now, but I'm sure there are. And it when it comes to the medical thing, it's like they can use AI to find chemical compounds and test digitally chemical compounds with a speed, and you need quantum computers for that. Well, they will use quantum computers for that. But they can use AI without quantum computers as well. It's not that fast, but it's still much faster um, than humans doing it. So of course, yeah. But Butter Stuff says I use it for no. Which one was it? Yeah, someone wrote. Yeah, Nat says I use AI for diagnosis. So so obviously that's a good thing, because that can help people. Um, but the problem is that, of course, they are using it in areas where first it's not needed. Secondly, it's harming people. And those areas are, like videos, making videos, um, uh, arts, music, novels, movies, and I'm pretty sure that Netflix movies and series. I'm pretty sure that they use AI writing those now. It was always bad or poorly written, but now it's like I've I've been interested in finding TV series written using AI, and I think I can pinpoint some of those um, because it's extremely poorly written. Um, Hotep there. Hello again. Good to see you. What's going on? Well, you'll have to scroll back. Basically, I was talking about a horrible decision made in Norway where they decided to put the remaining and protected waterfalls in pipes. Um, let's see. Yeah, just wise says people use AI to do their homework and tests for them, even in university. Wonder how those people will do when they get a job. Uh, what time is it? It's 10 past 7 in the morning here. Yeah, kingdoms and kobolds. When it comes to the reason I think that they use AI in writing is that I've tried. Netflix is nonsense, but I got it for free for a time period. Um, but what they do is that they have a concept which it's sort of exciting. Uh, Now, one example is this TV series where they all ended up in some village in the American countryside, and there were monsters there during the night, something like that. So the concept it starts off interesting in a way, and then nothing happens. There is no character arcs. There are no character arcs. There are no, like, now this is my profession. I don't write for TV, but I am a novelist. So it's a craft, and you need to think about these things when you write. But what I'm seeing is that these TV series, they start up with a concept that is interesting enough, and then you have a few characters. They are kind of presented. They do something, and then nothing happens. There is no development in the story. And that's why I think that AI has been involved there. Because I think that AI is not at the level yet where it can create a dynamic story. But I don't know. Maybe it can. Maybe it's just poor writing. I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, we talked about environmental issues, and these Norwegian politicians who have been caught on TV many years ago. They said that we will make Norway the battery for Europe. The green battery for Europe. Wildliv says, the way I see it, Norway is not a country anymore. Feels more like we are a state in the north, a state in Europe. Yeah. I'm also seeing now a push to get Norway into the EU. And they are saying that, well, because of Putin and Russia, we need to be part of EU. Because if we're not part of EU, Putin will he will he will be very mean to us. I don't think that's EU has anything to do with it. We are already in NATO. So yeah, I think Norway needs to be left alone. And yes, the other thing, they are saying, these politicians, that because of Trump's tariffs, which will have the effect, of course, that the areas that he, if he says we will have tariff on everything from the EU will then put tariff on everything from the US, so the same amount. So 25% of tariff from hold on, I'll just have to check if one of the dogs has gotten outside this early in the morning. I don't think so. I'll look out the window. Oh, we're okay. Yeah, okay. So if EU then has a tariff, these politicians are saying that, well, maybe then that will harm Norway, not because Norway is not part of the EU. But I think that that's not how it's going to work. Yeah. Hotep, well, increasing the tariffs on EU, I believe. Yeah, the Greenland thing. Yeah. It's funny you're mentioning Greenland here. I've never seen this level of disrespect. I mentioned this a couple of live streams ago. I've never seen this level of mocking everything American. And I think it has to do with the fact that even, I mean, Scandinavians, they feel some kind of ownership and connection to Greenland. And you need to go back in history to understand why. Um, and yeah, so it's a sad thing what has happened there. It's a sad thing. And as I said, uh, Trump's idea that if they won't sell, we will take it using military force. They won't rule out military force. Uh, that's that kind of provoked people in a way I haven't seen before. I haven't seen that before. Um, it's People are laughing, people are shaking their head, people are making fun of American culture in general. So, and it happened so quickly, so quickly. So yeah, when these people they say, well, the world will now respect the USA again. I think at least for Scandinavia, it is the opposite. Um, so um, yeah, but let's not get into that again. I don't think that will ever happen. So yeah, and as I always say, um, when you the thing that didn't reach American news, the Putin statement that they will take back Alaska, and they have. If you go to Google now, you can actually see that they have. If you're in Russia and you look at Alaska, It's not named. They changed the name. It's called Russian America. Did you know that? So that it's been renamed. It's Russian America again. And he said that they are going to take Alaska back because it doesn't belong to America. That's what they're saying. You know, I'll just give it a few seconds. um, just kidding. Just kidding. But it's not so. Doesn't feel so great, does it? When it's your country. So just try to embrace that feeling for a little while. That's how people in Greenland are feeling about this. You know. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah, butter stuff. Canada, yeah, Canada will take Alaska. I think actually that would provoke Americans more. Um, so yeah, let's let's not claim parts of other countries for ourselves. I think it's kind of history has shown that it's kind of a bad idea, and it kind of leads to wars. So let's not do that. Can we all agree on that? um, And let's not get into a rhetoric of might is right, because that also leads to bad things. History has shown us that. Um, you know, yeah. California. Yeah. Well, so yeah, AI. Back to AI. It's all over the place on YouTube now, and it is decreasing the views of proper videos. It's a problem, and at the same time, I will say that I am struggling with low views on all of my channels. Is it because of AI? I don't know, but it has happened during the same time as AI was introduced and started to spread on the platform. Is it a coincidence? I don't know, but it's here, and it's actually the ad revenue is not enough to make the wheels go round anymore. So yeah, so thank you, YouTube, for introducing AI. It sucks to be on YouTube now. So yeah. Now I actually think that when you had all these large YouTubers quitting some time ago, I think that it had a lot to do with AI. I think that they saw what was coming. They knew what YouTube was going to do. And I think it has something to do with the reason why they quit. Yeah, Rumble. I'm on Rumble. Rumble has paid me $20 in 3 or 4 years, something like that. So the views are low, and the model on for payment on Rumble is poor. You have to give them exclusivity to your video to if you want to make some money there. And I'm not going to give any platform exclusivity to my videos. Yeah. Okay. I think I'll go and have breakfast now. And I want to thank you for joining. Wonderful to have you all here. I know some people are watching this in the morning. That would be in Europe and Europe, Europe and Africa, actually. So yeah, wonderful, and thank you. We have a good community here, and yeah. By the way, I have a video tonight or tomorrow morning. So in about 12 hours, it will be up on Bjorn Outdoors. A little video there that you can check out. So in about 12 hours, it will be up there. Well, actually, it's up there already for members to that channel. Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of the evening or day, and we'll talk soon.